There are moments in life when the path ahead seems shrouded in mist, when the burdens we carry feel too heavy, and the noise of the world threatens to drown out the quiet whispers of hope. We look around, searching for solid ground, seeking a hand to steady us, a voice to reassure us. We might look to the hills, to the sources we perceive as strong or imposing, wondering from where our help will come. Is it from human strength, from worldly resources, from the high places of power or influence? This ancient question, posed in the opening lines of Psalm 121, resonates deeply with the human experience. I will lift up my eyes to the hills. From whence comes my help? The psalmist, perhaps standing on a valley floor or facing a challenging journey, scans the horizon. The hills could represent physical dangers, places where bandits lurk, or simply the daunting terrain that must be navigated. They could also symbolize the pagan high places where false gods were worshipped, tempting people to seek help from unreliable sources. The question is honest, vulnerable. It acknowledges a need for help, a recognition of one's own limitations in the face of potential peril or overwhelming circumstances. We've all been there, looking outward, searching for an answer to our need. But the very next line delivers a powerful, definitive answer that shifts our gaze from the uncertain landscape to the unshakable foundation of our faith. My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. The answer isn't found in the imposing hills, the formidable challenges, or any created thing. It is found solely in the Creator himself, he who spoke the cosmos into existence, who laid the foundations of the earth, who hung the stars in the sky. That is where our help originates. This isn't just any help, it is help from the ultimate source of power, wisdom, and love. It's help that transcends any earthly limitation, any human failing, any external threat. When we realize the sheer magnitude of the one from whom our help comes, our perspective begins to change. The mountains that looked so large suddenly seem smaller in comparison to the one who made them. The problems that loomed so big are brought before the one who holds all things in his hands. This truth is foundational to finding true comfort and peace. Our help does not depend on our own strength, cleverness, or resources. It does not depend on the fickle support of others or the changing tides of circumstance. Our help is rooted in the unchangeable character and limitless power of the Lord, the Maker of heaven and earth. This declaration is not a passive statement, it is an active assertion of faith. In declaring, "My help comes from the Lord," the psalmist chooses to place his trust, his reliance, his hope entirely in God. It's a profound act of faith that anchors the soul in turbulent times. The psalm then immediately delves into the nature of this divine help, offering specific, comforting assurances. It addresses our anxieties about vulnerability and stability. He will not allow your foot to be moved. Think about walking on uneven ground, facing a strong wind, or navigating a slippery path. We fear falling, stumbling, losing our footing entirely. This verse speaks directly to that fear. God, our helper, is actively involved in our stability. He won't allow us to be completely overthrown. This doesn't mean we will never face challenges or moments where we feel unsteady. But it means that ultimately, in the things that matter most, in our walk of faith, in our standing before Him, He will not allow us to be moved beyond His keeping. He provides the stability we lack within ourselves. He is the firm ground beneath our feet. And how can we be so sure of this unwavering stability and help? Because of the nature of our helper. The psalm introduces a central theme that is repeated and elaborated upon: God as the keeper. Verses 3 and 4 beautifully articulate this. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The word translated, keeps, or preserve. Throughout this psalm is the Hebrew word shamar. It means to guard, to watch over, to protect, to preserve, to attend to be a watchman. It's a picture of vigilant, active care. In ancient times, a watchman would stand guard on the city walls, sleeplessly watching for any sign of danger. A shepherd would shamar his flock, constantly guarding against predators and leading them to safety. The psalmist assures us that God is shamar, our guardian, our protector, our watchman. And unlike any human watchman, any earthly guardian, any shepherd who eventually needs rest, our God never sleeps. He never slumbers. This is a unique, divine attribute. Our physical bodies require sleep to function, to restore themselves. There are hours in every day when we are vulnerable, when our consciousness is dimmed, when we are unaware of potential threats. But God is not limited by physical needs. He is pure, boundless energy and awareness. He doesn't need to rest. He is perpetually vigilant. The contrast is stark and incredibly comforting. Imagine relying on a human guard who might fall asleep on duty, even for a moment. That moment of vulnerability could be catastrophic. But God, the one who keeps you, is never off duty. His eyes are always open, his attention is never diverted, his strength never wanes. He is perfectly and perpetually aware of everything that concerns you, every potential danger, every need. This truth is profound. It means there is never a moment when you are outside of his watchful care. Day or night, whether you are awake or asleep, strong or weak, aware or unaware, your keeper is actively keeping you. The reference to, "He who keeps Israel," reminds us that this is a promise not just for an individual, but for God's people collectively. He guarded Israel through the wilderness, through battles, through exile and return. His faithfulness to his covenant people is a testament to his unwavering nature as a keeper. And as believers in Christ, we are now part of the Israel of God, recipients of these same promises of divine keeping. This isn't just a historical fact about ancient Israel, it is a present reality for every child of God. Your keeper is the same God who kept Israel, and he shall neither slumber nor sleep in keeping you. Building on this central idea of God as the sleepless keeper, the psalm continues in verse 5, reinforcing the personal nature of his protection. The Lord is your keeper, the Lord is your shade at your right hand. The repetition emphasizes this vital truth. He is your keeper, not just a cosmic force or a distant deity, but a personal guardian who is intimately involved in your life. The imagery shifts slightly to describe how he keeps us. He is your shade at your right hand. In the ancient Near East, especially in a hot climate like Israel, shade was not merely a luxury, it was a necessity for survival. The sun's intense heat could be deadly. To have shade meant protection from the scorching heat, a place of refuge and relief. Being at your right hand signifies a position of close support and strength. The right hand was often associated with power, action, and proximity. So, God as your shade at your right hand paints a picture of immediate, ever-present, life-sustaining protection from the harshness of life's elements. He is your constant refuge, always beside you, shielding you from the things that would harm you. This leads directly into verse 6, "The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night." This expands on the idea of shade and protection. The sun by day represents obvious, visible dangers, the intense heat and challenges faced in the light of day. The moon by night, in ancient thought, was sometimes associated with dangers lurking in darkness, or even with ill effects believed to be caused by moonlight itself, like disorientation or madness. Regardless of the specific ancient beliefs, the phrase comprehensively covers protection through all times, day and night. Consider your own life. You face challenges and potential harm during the day, in your work, interactions, and activities. You also face different kinds of fears and vulnerabilities at night, in the quiet hours when anxieties can surface, or when physical dangers are harder to see. The psalmist assures us that God's protection extends through both. His shade covers you 24/7. There is no hour, no situation, no time of day or night, when you are outside the reach of His keeping. The sun might beat down, the night might feel dark and threatening, but your keeper is there, providing essential protection. Think about what this means for worry and anxiety. So much of our anxiety stems from the fear of what might happen, the potential harm that lies in wait, especially when we feel exposed or vulnerable. Psalm 121 confronts this by stating unequivocally that God Himself is our protection, a constant, active shade at our side, guarding us against the strikes of both day and night. This truth invites us to release our grip on trying to protect ourselves with our own limited strength, and instead rest in the boundless, sleepless protection of God. The psalm then moves to the most comprehensive statements about God's preservation in verses 7 and 8. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. The Lord shall preserve your going out and your coming in from this time forth, and even forevermore. The word preserve here is again shamar, reinforcing the idea of God's active guardianship. But the scope expands dramatically. He shall preserve you from all evil. This is a vast promise. Evil, Hebrew ra, is a broad term encompassing not just moral wickedness, but also harm, trouble, calamity, distress, and adversity. This isn't a guarantee that evil things will never touch your life. The reality of living in a fallen world means we will encounter suffering, injustice, and hardship. However, the promise is that God will preserve you from it. This can mean deliverance out of evil situations, protection through evil attacks, or ultimately, preservation from the ultimate destructive power of evil over your life and eternal destiny. He is the one who limits the power of evil and ensures it will not have the final word concerning you. He is preserving you through the evil you face, shaping it, and ultimately working even the difficult things for your good. Romans 8:2-8. And this preservation is not just external or superficial. He shall preserve your soul. This goes to the very core of your being. Your soul encompasses your mind, will, emotions, your inner life, and your eternal spirit. God's keeping extends to this deepest part of who you are. He protects your inner peace, guards your faith, preserves your identity in Him, and secures your eternal future. In a world that constantly assaults our inner well-being with fear, doubt, despair, and temptation, the promise that God preserves our soul is incredibly powerful. He guards our hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. The scope broadens further. The Lord shall preserve your going out and your coming in. This is an ancient idiom that signifies the totality of a person's life and activity. It means He preserves you in all your journeys, all your endeavors, all your transitions. When you leave your home in the morning, He is with you, preserving you. When you return in the evening, He is with you, preserving you. When you start a new venture, enter a new season of life, or conclude a phase, He is there, keeping you through it all. It speaks to God's comprehensive care over every detail of your daily existence, every step you take, every threshold you cross. Nothing you do, nowhere you go, is outside the watchful eye and preserving power of your keeper. And finally, the psalm seals these promises with an eternal guarantee, from this time forth, and even forevermore. This isn't a temporary protection that might expire. It's not a help that is here today and gone tomorrow. God's keeping is eternal. From the moment you belong to Him, through every stage of your life, through death, and into eternity. His keeping never ends. His promise to preserve you is binding forever. This adds an incredible layer of security and hope. Whatever challenges you face today, tomorrow, or years from now, you can rest in the assurance that you have a keeper whose watchfulness and protection are everlasting. Let's take a moment to reflect on the immense comfort and strength packed into these 8 short verses. We live in a world saturated with anxiety. We worry about our safety, our health, our finances, our families, our future. We feel vulnerable, exposed, and often alone in facing the storms of life. Psalm 121 doesn't pretend these fears don't exist. It acknowledges the need for help and the feeling of looking out at a daunting world, but it redirects our gaze from the problems to the protector. It reminds us that the God we serve is not distant or disengaged. He is actively involved in our lives as our personal keeper. He is the sleepless guardian who needs no rest, whose watchfulness is perfect and perpetual. He is the constant shade at our right hand, shielding us from the harsh elements that would wear us down or destroy us. He preserves us comprehensively from all evil, at the deepest level of our soul, in every aspect of our daily lives, our going out and coming in, and this promise is forever. What difference should these truths make in our daily lives? First, they should transform our worry into trust. When anxiety begins to creep in, we can consciously lift our eyes, not to the problems, but to the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. We can remind ourselves, my help comes from Him. We can whisper the truth, He who keeps me will not slumber. This isn't denying the reality of difficulties, but it is choosing to place our reliance on the greater reality of God's power and presence. Second, they should deepen our sense of security. We are not left to fend for ourselves in a dangerous world. We have a divine guardian who is always with us, always watching over us. This security is not based on external circumstances being perfect, but on the internal reality of being held in the grip of our unfailing keeper. We can walk with a greater sense of peace, knowing that our steps are ordered by Him, and that He is actively working for our preservation. Third, they should empower us to live more courageously. If God preserves our going out and our coming in, we can step out in faith, pursuing the path He has laid before us. Even when it seems daunting, we don't have to be paralyzed by fear of what might happen. We can trust that as we live within His will, His keeping hand is upon us. Fourth, they should cultivate a profound sense of gratitude. How amazing is it to have a God who cares for us with such meticulous, tireless, and comprehensive attention. Every day that we navigate safely, every challenge we overcome, every moment of peace we experience is a testament to His keeping power. Let's reflect on the word keeper. Again, it implies not just protection from external threats, but also care for us. A keeper doesn't just ward off danger, they also tend to the needs of what they keep. A shepherd keeps his sheep by leading them to pasture and water, by binding up their wounds, by carrying the weak. Our divine keeper does the same. He not only protects us from evil, but He also guides us, sustains us, nurtures our souls, and meets our needs. His keeping is active, attentive, and loving. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, Psalm 121 offers an anchor. It is a reminder that above the hills, beyond the threats, greater than any problem we face, is the Lord, our sleepless, unwavering, eternal keeper. When you feel lost, look up. When you feel afraid, remember, He neither slumbers nor sleeps. When you feel vulnerable, lean into His shade at your right hand. When you face evil or uncertainty in your daily life, trust that He preserves your going out and your coming in. This psalm is more than just a beautiful piece of poetry. It is a living promise from the heart of God to His beloved children. It is a source of strength for the weary, comfort for the anxious, and peace for the troubled soul. It invites us into a deeper trust, a more profound reliance on the One who is always watching, always guarding, always keeping. Think about the moments you've felt most vulnerable, perhaps a health scare, a financial crisis, a relationship struggle, a time of deep loneliness, or facing a significant unknown future. In those moments, where did you look for help? Did you frantically search for human solutions? Did you succumb to fear? Or did you lift your eyes to the Maker of heaven and earth? This psalm calls us to make that conscious choice, again and again, to intentionally shift our focus from the magnitude of our problems to the magnitude of our God. His keeping isn't a passive state, it is an active, ongoing work. He is constantly attending to you. Like a parent watching a child, His gaze is fixed on you with love and vigilance. He is aware of every step you take, every challenge you face, every fear you wrestle with. And His promise is to keep you through it all. Consider the practical implications. If God is your keeper, you don't need to live in constant fear. You can take wise precautions, but you don't have to be consumed by anxiety about things outside your control. You can rest more peacefully at night, knowing that while you sleep, your keeper is wide awake. You can face the day's tasks and interactions with greater confidence, knowing that He preserves your going out and coming in. You can trust Him with your deepest fears and vulnerabilities, knowing that He preserves your soul. This psalm is a powerful antidote to the anxiety epidemic of our age. It reminds us that true security is not found in accumulating wealth, building bigger walls, or controlling every variable in our lives. True security is found in being kept by the One who is sovereign over all things. Let Psalm 121 become your go-to scripture when you feel overwhelmed or afraid. Read it aloud. Meditate on its phrases. Let the truth of God as your sleepless keeper sink deep into your heart. Visualize Him as the shade at your right hand, shielding you. Picture His hand steadying your foot so you will not be moved. Embrace the certainty that He preserves you from all evil and keeps your soul. In conclusion, Psalm 121 offers us a breathtaking portrait of God's unwavering care. It answers the fundamental human question of where our help comes from by pointing us directly to the Lord, the Creator. It assures us that our helper is our tireless, sleepless keeper who provides constant, comprehensive, and eternal protection. He is your guardian, your protector, your shade, preserving your soul, your every activity, and your entire being, now and forevermore. As you go about your day, or as you prepare to rest tonight, remember this profound truth: you are kept by the Lord. You are under the watchful eye of the One who never slumbers, who never sleeps. Your help comes from Him. Rest in that truth. Find your strength in His keeping. Find your peace in His perpetual presence. Let the assurance of God's protection fill your heart and silence your fears. Your keeper is always awake, and He is always watching over you. Trust Him with your life, knowing that in His hands, you are perfectly and eternally safe. Which part of this psalm resonates most deeply with you today? Is it the assurance that your help comes from the Creator? The comfort that your keeper never sleeps? The promise of being preserved from all evil? Or the certainty of His protection over your going out and coming in, forevermore? Take a moment to reflect on how God has shown Himself as your keeper in your own life. Perhaps share a thought in the comments below. Let's encourage one another with the truth of God's amazing preservation. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message of hope and comfort today, please share this video with them. May the Lord bless you and keep you.